Welcome into the ProBox TV studios. Another great card, September 5th, the DMV area. That's right, Washington, D.C., full of boxing talent, essentially the center of the boxing universe right now. That's why ProBox TV is going there for more 50-50 all-action fights. Help me talk about them. You're used to it in studio. Paulie Malignaggi, via Zoom, of course, Chris Algieri, but also in studio, the boss, Gary Jonas, giving us the insight into how these fights are put together, why they're getting made. I have to ask the question, starting with the main event. When you look at Rene Tellez versus Jordan White really impressive. When I talk about DMV fighters, that style, the slickness, the defense, he looked great last time in D.C.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I'm not sure about the opponent, but, he came off a big knockout of Erickson Garcia on ShowBox before that. We ended up with the Argentinian. I was a little disappointed in that opponent. We got to challenge Jordan. Jordan wants to be that guy who gets into those big fights. And our platform is supposed to give him 2 or 3 really statement fights that says, hey, he should be up there for a championship fight. So we had Magdaleno, and I thought that was going to be a great fight. And one that would allow Jordan White to really shine. He fell out, hurt his hand. He's got poly hands. So we ended up with Tellez, and he actually moved up. He decided after that to move up to 35. So we got Rene Tellez, who we think is that type of fight as well. So we're pretty happy about the alternative. And I think Tellez is going to be a very, very big test. For
boss, you should be happy about my hand injuries because it allows me to be in DC for this fight. Otherwise, I'd be fighting. Otherwise, I'd be fighting the same weekend.
Right? So there's an upside to having Paulie hands.
Hey, Gary, when you put this Tellez fight together, how much did you do, Jimmy? You know what I'm about to do.
I know.
That's a tough fight. It's a dangerous fight. Because I know I've been thinking this. I see this fight and I'm like, ooh, Tellez is he's a really tough forward Mexican style fighter who can punch. He gave Floyd Schofield all he could handle, dropped him late in the fight, did 12 rounds. The guy's got a lot of experience. He comes forward, super aggressive. He can punch. So how much of that, when you were side of this fight, you're like, I think this is a tougher fight than Magdaleno, honestly.
I did a little bit of that, but at the same time, Jordan White wants that fight. He wants to prove that he belongs, and he understands he has to cross that road. He has to take on these kind of fights to prove himself. So kudos to Jordan White and his people and his team, because they got a lot of confidence and they get it. They want this fight. They want to shine against this guy and make a statement that they belong, that they're every bit what Schofield is, and they belong at the highest level. So that's how these fights get made, and it's I'm excited about it.
Boss, I love the point the champ just made about Tellez, roaring on late, because there's one thing about White. Sometimes he gets that early power, and then sometimes he'll settle in. With Tellez, he can't do that. Tellez is the kind of guy that gets scarier. It could be scary if you start to settle in that way. The fight winds up hanging in the balance late, and then with the fight hanging in the balance, you got to fight even tougher against a guy like Tellez. So it's a little bit of a gut check situation for White here.
It's a measuring stick. I mean, we're going to find out how good he is. And I think that, from a styles point of view, it's going to be a great action fight. Guys like White are fun to watch against guys like Tellez, right? Where they bring it, and so suddenly a guy who might not look like he's an action fighter against someone else that looks like him, against Tellez, it's going to be a war.
Here's my opinion. If White doesn't get him out early, it's gonna get rocky, dude. It's gonna get rocky, and then but White always has that kind of power that he can get you out early, and then you end up wondering, all right, now we're not gonna get the answer about White late in the fight, because where the fight ended early, because White has that kind of power too. But White could do that at any level, really. He has that kind of power at any level, in my opinion. But if it doesn't end early, Tellez is.
Oh, and I think they've been prepared.
Rough, dude.
They know that. They know that little knock. They know that they have to demonstrate that they can carry their power and they can carry their stamina into late rounds against guys with chin. So I think they're ready for that challenge, and they've been working on it.
Chins and stamina.
Yeah.
Is it a challenge for you? Because you want those all-action 50-50 fights. You want to see a guy push. You want to see a guy, in the deep water mentally. So many of those DC fighters, we've seen a million times, slick, technical. They're used to going to war in the gym. How hard is it as a promoter? You want to draw that out of a fighter, but so many of those DMV guys, so well trained, so well coached, it can be hard to get them to that level. It's a difficult thing to do on the way up. What's your thought on that as a promoter, man?
I just think that they all understand what we've explained how this works, and we've explained that we're going to get you there, but you've got to walk through certain things, certain levels, certain styles, and prove that you can do it. So there's going to be no shortage. You guys are African American fighters. You're slick. You're stylish. You're fun to watch. If you're fighting a guy who's going to come balls to the wall at you. And that's the only way we're going to make an entertaining fight. So, I mean, across the board, it's you're going to have to take these fights to make that statement. They saw what happened with some of the previous fighters we've had, where they took those challenging fights and it got them the big fight. So there's a paradigm shift, whereas a lot of the other guys are trying to protect someone to the big fight. Things are changing in boxing. Now you have to prove yourself at a lower level, right, or a less expensive level in order to get to that place. And so our guys you don't get signed to ProBox if you're not willing to take that more difficult road and prove yourself.
Well, they all seem mentally prepared. We've got a chance to speak to the fighters. This is what they had to say about fighting, not just for us, but under the big ProBox lights. Jordan White, once again, returning to ProBox TV. First question I got to ask, how is camp? How is your preparation right now coming into this fight?
Camp is great. Every camp you work harder. You do the extra mile that you didn't do last camp, or do a little bit more than you did last camp. So camp is going great, man. We making adjustments as we should, and we training hard, ready for September 5th.
Jordan, you talk about doing what you didn't do last camp and so on and so forth, always wanting to improve. What are things that we should be looking for out of Jordan White? Obviously, to this point in your career, we know you have an explosive finishing ability, and that in itself is entertaining. What are key things you're working on for this camp, or in terms of what you want to show to the fan base?
I definitely want to show, like you said, the power that's always gonna be a short dog. But we moving up this time to 135. So we definitely doing a lot more training pertaining to strength. Definitely keep the speed there, but we just training to move up to the next level, man, and show the world what short dog is made of. I feel like a lot of fights I'm not able to show everything. So I've been working on showing everything in camp. That way, when I get in the ring, that I can give y'all everything that I have.
Yeah, Jordan. So your last fight, you fought the Argentinian Matias Romero, and he was a little standoffish, stayed away. You had to kind of chase him down a little bit. We didn't get to see exactly that explosive power. He fought here and there at times. Rene Tellez Garon is completely different. He's the kind of guy, he's going to come right at you. How familiar are you with his style? And also, you mentioned going up in weight. Now you got a guy who's going to come at you. He's a powerful, explosive guy. How familiar are you with Tellez Garon and what he brings?
Um, if you want, I tell y'all this. I tell everybody this all the time. I don't watch boxing. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
for it because my dad always told me, man, don't care for anything that don't care about you. And I feel as though it's another fight, a step up fight. Styles make fights. Um, and just because he went at everybody else doesn't mean that he's gonna make the same decision with me. Um, I plan to go in there and dominate like I usually do. And adjust to whatever I need to adjust to. If he come forward, I got some bricks for him to stay still. So we here. I'm a puncher and I'm a boxer. Whatever I need to do, I'm gonna do both of them, and we gonna make it happen.
Jordan, what I'm
Something
curious,
tells
yeah.
me we're gonna see an explosive event this time out. Even though last time was a little bit of chasing and running.
So, Jordan, what I'm curious about, when I called this fight in DC, man, the crowd was into it. And all of us ringside were kind of struck by kind of the electricity there. The crowd was very much into it. They were there early. They packed the place. How did it feel fighting in that environment? How much are you looking forward to that again? A lot of fighters don't like fighting in their hometowns, but, man, yours really showed out, man.
I love fighting at home. The fans, the family. I get to put on in front of everybody that I love and everybody that's been supporting me since I've been 8 years old. So they've been watching my 20-year run, and it's always a blessing to be able to be home and showing everybody that, like I said, that I love what I can do. So it's electrifying. I love it.
Jordan, you talk about moving up to the lightweight division, but you don't watch boxing, so I don't know how familiar you are with the lightweight landscape. It's one of the deepest divisions in boxing. The problem I have with the lightweight division is that a lot of matchups don't get made. There's a lot of good fights, a lot of good fighters, and there's a lot of possibilities in the lightweight division. And with you entering the fray, it brings that much more excitement because you're an explosive puncher and a fun guy to watch. Also, there's a lot of that DMV presence there. There's Gervonta Davis, there's Lamont Roach, there's you.
Sir.
There's Gary Russell. There's a lot of presence there from your region in that weight class that is stacked. It's so stacked that that's just the top fighters from your region, and yet there's a lot of other top fighters as well.
Hell yeah.
Any obviously it suits you well. There could be a lot of potential local rivalries put there. What are your thoughts on that? Obviously, without overlooking the here on now, but what are your thoughts on the lightweight division as a whole and the possibilities of you entering that fray?
I feel like I always say, wherever God leads me, that's where I'm gonna go. I'm training and preparing, working for the best of the best. So wherever we land, that's where we land at. I'm ready. But what I do feel is though, those guys, as you mentioned, Gervonta Davis, Lamont Roach, Gary Russell. I feel like when I get to that place with those belts and that opportunity is definitely gonna be worth taking.
Yeah, Jordan, what do you think it is? Why is there so much talent coming out of that area? Listen, there's a specific style. It's obvious when you watch the guys from that area fight, but it's not just that. There's a grittiness to it too. What is the difference and why you guys coming from where you come from not only fight the way you fight, but are so effective at the highest level?
A lot of people really don't know, but everybody in the DV fought everybody, and if they didn't fight everybody, everybody sparred everybody. Everybody is a lot closer than the world thinks. So we are one, honestly, and that's why we produce how we produce. If you look at we had a 2000, I want to say 2008 ringside. If y'all bring that, it's a big old picture. You'll see all of us in there. Gervonta Davis, Lamont, and me. You'll see so many fighters that didn't even make it, that didn't make it out. That were great. But it's like I said, we are one, man. And that's why I feel as though it is a lot of great fighters in the DMV, but for looking to fight each other, I mean, I get it when it makes sense, a belt after belt for belt, it does make sense. But for us against the world, it stands out a lot more, for us
Yeah.
against everybody else. Cause like I said, we are one.
Well,
If we have to fight each other, then it's understood. But I feel like need be, we shouldn't. Because like I said, we are one. We come from DC. We are DC. We produce from here.
I think we got your next team shirt, DMV versus everybody.
But
Yes, sir.
it's
I
such a
like
If you
it.
could, listen, if Jordan, if you have that photo, send that in. I want to see that.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
we'll
Man,
post that on fire. That'll be a good.
listen, man, it's so many fighters that it's actually. I want to shout out a fighter right now. He's coming out. He had a rough childhood, but Devin Matos was one of the best. He was one of the best idols that I grew up watching, and he didn't have a chance to display his talent, but when I feel like when he gets his feet on the ground in his boxing game, you will know his name.
It's interesting. Sometimes there's these regions that they have it's talent in the same weight class coming out all at once, man. This is incredible to see here with the DMV because you're all in the same weight class, all with world championship aspirations and all around the same at the same time. And there could be big rivalries, like you said. Maybe you don't fight each other and you just put on for the DMV, or you wind up fighting each other in a big local rivalry. It's funny because I remember when I was world champion the first time around, you had Kendall Holt was the WBO world champion. He was in the same weight class. He was out of Newark. I was the IBF world champion out of Brooklyn. And Vivian Harris had just lost the WBA world title out of Brooklyn as well. So there was 3 of us within like a 20-mile radius had 3 of the 4 belts at the same time. So I think DC has a possibility here to kind of do something similar with a lot of these guys. Jordan, if you put on a big performance in this fight, you'll be most definitely mentioned among these guys, and people will start clamoring for your
when I
your
put a
presence.
good performance
Hey
on.
man, that's for you to show us, brother.
Nah, yeah, I don't tell no lies. I show and tell, baby.
That's right.
Hey, we're all looking forward to it. September 5th. It's going to be Jordan Short Dog White in our main event, taking on Rene Hiron. We're looking forward to a great fight. Can't wait to see you. Good luck to you, buddy.
Thank you, man. Like I told y'all before, I'm true to this. I ain't new to this.
Well, September 5th isn't just about the main event. A great co-main event, Suleiman Sagawa, Brian Acosta. I cannot wait to hear the boss talk about this one in studio with him, Paulie Malignaggi, Chris Algieri joining us via Zoom. Boss, when you look at Brian Acosta, last time we saw him in the Cardenas fight, that was in Texas. I was like, man, this Acosta kid's good. He's big. He's physical, good range. Got cooking late in that fight, lost a close decision. As a promoter, do you go, that's a ProBox guy? Because I know us, ringside, we were looking at going, we want to see that guy again. Was that the mentality here?
Absolutely. I mean, and we knew a 20-0, fun, action-packed Mexican fighter who was Inoue's sparring partner for every fight that Inoue has. He was quality, and that we had a really high-quality fight going on. That was a championship fight that night. Cardenas is going on to a championship opportunity now. Costa moved up in weight because he was a little dead on the scale. So there's a little bit of some. I guess there was some excuses being made that night, but he didn't have to make any. He performed really well. So he wants to go to 26, and he's jumping in hard and fast by taking on Sagawa. And we love that fight. I mean, that's Sagawa's last performance against Shushu Carrington. Arguably won that fight. So he's much better than his record suggests. So we got a tremendous fight, and that's going to be an action-packed fight as well. So,
and it's one of those situations, in my opinion, where Acosta was able to sort of make his reputation known in a losing effort. And it's one of those things where, we stay true to our word. If you fight well, we'll bring you back even if you don't win. We value the matchups. We don't value wins and losses as much. As long as you are fighting and making exciting fights and making quality fights, and you show your level in that fight. And Acosta did just that. It's funny because now you only get one of those moral victories. You got to come back and win. I can remember my own pro career losing the Cotto fight and everybody thinking, "Paul, you did so well." And I was obviously my first loss, just like it was Acosta's first loss, right? Disappointed, Champ, I remember you told me Acosta DM'd you. He was disappointed when he found out Cardenas got the Inoue fight because he realized how close he'd been. And I remember thinking to myself, I don't care for the praise. I wanted to win this. And when I got the title shot the next year, I said, dude, if I don't win this, I'm going to be waiting years for another title shot. So I got to win this one. So Acosta got himself in that position where people are still curious because he fought so well against Cardenas. But now he's got to make it happen against Sagawa. And it's no easy task. It's no easy task.
Look, there are only so many guys that are willing to take these kind of fights. To be honest with you, he can lose a really fun, entertaining, close fight to Sagawa, and 90 days later you'll see him again. Because it's almost like we're defining our own league and our own brand of boxing. And the guys who are willing to take these kind of fights, the fans love it. We love it. They're all at a very high level. I have to reward them with more and more opportunities. I don't care that he would have 2 losses. If he wins it, great. But the same thing goes for Sagawa. If he puts on a great fight, he's coming back.
Point made, Garrett. But from a fighter's perspective, you are looking to elevate to world-class level. We personally love having these guys back on. It's no problem because they are of the level that make ProBox. Anybody who's all the fans at home that watches ProBox knows these guys are the reason ProBox is so great and entertaining because of fighters like this. So we bringing them back here is the rave for us. But as a fighter, from a fighter's perspective, you want to elevate to that championship level, and you can get stuck at this level. It's a tough level to be stuck at, but there's an extra level that, as a fighter, you want to reach. That's world-class level. And I think that's what Acosta was talking about when, he was kind of sad that that Cardenas got the Inoue fight. He's like, oh, man, I was so close. Well, Champ, shows you how close you are. Yeah. Champ, talk about that conversation you had with Brian.
I actually reached out to Acosta myself. And actually, Gary, do you remember that night you came up to me like, man, that guy's chin. And I was like, yeah, no, his chin is definitely great, but he's also really good. I was really impressed with how he looked that night against Cardenas. Yeah, he got hit with some big shots. He walked through him and he actually put Cardenas down. But I was really impressed with his skills along with that chin. And I had DM'd him and I said, hey, man, great job. You definitely got a place on our air. And he said, thank you. It was nice meeting you, champ. But then he was also, once it got announced that Cardenas was fighting Inoue, he came to me like, man, that could have been me. And I said to him, and I go, do you see how close you were in that fight? This could be you. So to your point, champ, he's not looking at this as an opportunity to get back on ProBox TV and to be, in these fun fights. He's looking to get back to the point where he can actually be in these big time fights, be a world champion. His mindset's not just to be in fun fights. His mindset is to be a world champion. His mindset is to use these skills that he has. And when we were talking about getting ready for that fight, there wasn't a whole lot of tape on him. We were all looking, we were all talking, me, Jimmy, Paulie, Ricardo. I'm like, where are we going to find stuff about this guy? Then we did some research and found out that he was in camp with Inoue twice.
Make the face, Chris. Make the face.
And I went, guys, I'm like, you don't get invited back unless you can fight.
Yeah.
And that's when me and Paulie had like a light bulb.
You made the face, dude.
This guy can fight. Yeah. And sure enough, he can fight. And but to your point, champ, I 100% agree. This kid's here to be a world champion. He's not here to put on fun fights. Just put on fun fights.
And that talks about, also highlights the double-edged sword that is ProBox. It's one side, super entertaining fights, and that's the goal all the time, and to entertain the fans. But on the other side, from the fighter's perspective, it's a springboard to world-class championship boxing. So you want to, you're gonna test your mettle here and show your value to get to that world-class championship boxing. So for Acosta, from Acosta's perspective, he's kind of got both. He's looking to use it as a springboard, and he's got the talent to get to world championship boxing, but he also has the goods to be entertaining, and that's why he's here.
You guys also know we've had a number of guys who've been in world championship fights on other platforms, and partially because sometimes you take that loss here or there, and they want to fight you.
Yeah.
Now you know this, right?
Or you have a not so quality win.
Right. So there's two ways of looking at this.
You look beatable in a win too.
Right.
That's actually the rave.
And
right
it's
now.
only because we're not protecting anybody. We're just making great fights. But perceptionally, they've got better chances of getting into those championship fights against champions that want to be protected by the other platforms.
Yeah.
So there's two ways to get there. You can run the table on ProBox TV, and you're going to be taken very seriously as a potential star, or you can win one and lose, lose one and win two, and the next thing you know, you're getting chosen, and you're wondering
or win one where you looked like
right.
Yeah.
So there's still opportunity, and it's proven out. I mean, we've had a dozen guys get into big fights on other platforms who've taken a loss or not look great because we put them in super tough. And that makes them the obviously the champion on another platform. Thinks, all right, well, we can beat this guy. Let's give him the fight.
Well, what I love about Suleiman Sagawa, you will see it here. He is one of those guys happy to be here, but he doesn't have the happy to be here. He's relaxed, prepared, ready to go. We spoke to both fighters in the co-main event. Here they are. Suleiman, welcome into ProBox TV, my man. How are you feeling heading into this fight?
I'm feeling great. I'm ready, getting ready each now and then, getting ready for the fight.
Suleiman, I see you. I had a look at your record, your resume. No easy fights, man. No easy fights. I'll tell you. You have defeats and you have your wins, and I get a closer look at your record, and I say, okay, losses are good fighters. Yeah. Maybe he didn't beat good fighters. No, he beat good fighters too. You know what I mean? So your resume is made for. I don't know how familiar you are with ProBox TV and this channel, but we love fighters like this, who were willing to take on tough fights. Willing to take on tough fights and don't turn down fights. And clearly, you're a veteran of the game and have some very good wins and have fought some very good opposition. What was the mindset behind this fighting this type of schedule?
So the mindset behind this type of thing. So when I was learning boxing, I learned to fight the best. I don't pick and choose. That's not my thing. I just want to fight the best. That's me. That has always been me.
Yeah, Suleiman, you've been on my radar for a long time, and I'm a fan. So it's really nice to meet you because you have been fighting very tough fighters. I like guys who fight people who don't avoid, and I was very similar. I didn't have the options to pick and choose who I fought, so I fought whoever they put in front of me, like a real fighter, like you are. But also, I've been watching you improve. You're
Oh,
looking better and better over the last couple fights. That your last fight with Shushu Bruce Carrington, I think, was
yeah,
one of your better performances against a streaking
yeah,
young fighter right now. Elijah Pierce, you have a win over him, and he is doing really well as of
yeah.
late.
Those are all great fighters. Yeah,
Yeah, these are very good top fighters, and they're young. You're not. It's not like you're
yeah,
beating older guys.
yeah,
So what's changed for you? Like I said, I'm seeing this improvement over the
yeah,
last couple of years, and you've been a professional for a while now. What's
yeah.
changed over the last couple of years?
So the only thing I feel that has changed is maturing in the game.
Hmm.
Because the more you stay in the game, the more you mature, the more you understand other ways to do things. So as I was coming to the game, I knew what to do, but sometimes you could get nervous in between the rounds. So those are things that you gain with experience. The more you stay in the game, the more you learn other things. Yeah.
So you've been learning on the job, learning
I've
learning
been
in the ring.
exactly. I've been learning on the job as well. Yeah.
Love that.
What do you know about your opponent, Brian Acosta? I said at the top of the show, put on a great fight against Ramon Cardenas. He's a Mexican fighter. He comes forward. He's tall, kind of rangy, but an all-action kind of fighter. What do you know about him, and how do you think your styles come together?
So I don't know much about him, but I've seen some YouTube fights of him. He's a great fighter. I can't take away nothing from him. He's a great fighter. He's a good fighter. He's well organized. So I'm seeing a tough fight, but I now come out victorious.
And you talk about coming out victorious, Suleiman. In your viewpoint, with all these tough fights you've had some solid wins. Where does a win over Brian Acosta place you in the overall scope of things in your weight class?
I think it will place me in the top 10s. That's what I'm saying, because it's a very competitive fight. I think he's ranked like number 30 something where he is. So meaning he's a very competitive fighter. So if you beat a competitive fighter, I think the rankings just put you right there.
And also, Suleiman, the last guy that beat him, Ramon Cardenas, wound up with a world championship fight against Inoue. So again, it shows you the value of a win over a fighter like this.
True. Yeah.
And just to piggyback off of that, Suleiman, how familiar are you with ProBox TV? We mentioned earlier that you're a perfect candidate to be fighting on our air. Number one, I mean, you fought a lot of tough fighters and you got some wins and some losses, and I said how you were improving, but also you're entertaining. So how familiar are you with the culture of ProBox TV and the kind of fights that we put on?
No, I'm very familiar because I've been watching most of your fights you put in the DMV. Because me and No Excuse, we've been working for almost like 8 years. So most of the shows that you've been throwing up in the DMV area, I've always been watching them. I've always been part of them.
No, that's good to hear. We always like to know that the guys who are coming on know what to expect. Come on, ProBox TV.
I'm curious. You're fighting out of Uganda. So many great African fighters, like the ones I grew up with, Azuma Nelson, Ike Quarte. What would it mean to you to separate yourself from the pack and be another generation? MMA is coming up big time. A lot of fighters from Africa really making their name. What would that mean to you to be one of those fighters after this card?
No, it means a lot. Yeah, it means a lot to be placed in front of all those legends, to be compared to them. It means that my work is showing that I'm putting in some good work.
Well, we're all looking forward to a fantastic performance, man. Not just in the boxing room, speaking to you, man. It's so great to have you part of the show here on ProBox. We're looking forward to a great fight. Best of luck to you, my man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you all, okay? Thank you.
Estamos en línea con Brian Acosta. Tiene una pelea realmente de esas de campeonato contra Segawa, Sulaiman Segawa. ¿Qué tal, Brian? Es tu próxima pelea, pero además vas por una recuperación luego de aquella derrota contra Ramón Cárdenas, que es tu única derrota. ¿Qué esperas de esa pelea? ¿Cómo la ves? ¿Qué piensas de Segawa?
Primeramente, dar las gracias por la invitación. Es un placer estar aquí con ustedes. Y nada, yo pienso que es una pelea dura, es una pelea con un peleador muy experimentado, que ha peleado pues se puede decir, mejor de la categoría. Bruce Carrington, Mirko Cuello, Rubén Villa, son sus últimos rivales. Es un peleador que yo he estado estudiando bien, un peleador que me gusta para esta pelea, me gusta porque me va a exigir mi máximo, así como lo hice con Cárdenas. Creo que he corregido los errores que cometí con Cárdenas. Esa pelea me sirvió mucho para mejorar. Más que nada, lo que pasó, pasó y por algo pasó así. Y hay que darle vuelta a la hoja y estamos aquí para esta pelea con Sulaiman Segawa. y nada, estamos 100% listos, esperando la fecha ya en los últimos detalles. De hecho, aquí venimos a los exámenes médicos y nada, estamos listos.
Oye, Brian, te saluda tu amigo Juan Manuel Márquez. ¿Cómo te sentiste? ¿Cómo sentiste tu accionar, tu actuar en la pelea frente a Ramón Cárdenas?
Sinceramente no es pero me sentí un poco, que empecé un poco tarde la pelea, un poco violento. Por ciertas cuestiones, no me gustaría entrar en detalles que son errores que ya he venido corrigiendo y todo eso. Me sentí bien, siento que pues era una pelea que mínimo fue un empate, pero pues no vamos a entrar en detalles. Como les digo, me sirvió y espero en algún momento, en algún futuro, poder volver a pelear con él. Sería un honor, sería un gusto si los caminos nos cruzan, ¿no? Y nada, pues como de lo malo lo bueno, como dicen, Juan Manuel, perdí, pero me sirvió para mucho, para cambiar muchas cosas y para mejorar, claro.
Precisamente por ahí va mi pregunta, Brian. Precisamente tú lo tuviste muy mal, incluso yo no sé, pero lo tuviste para noquear allí en el séptimo. Le diste una pelea muy dura a un hombre que mandó a Naoya nada menos que a la lona. Ahora vas con alguien que viene de perder en una pelea cerrada con Bruce Carrington nada menos. Le dio pelea a Mirko Cuello, que ahora es campeón interino de la división en la AMB, y le ganó a Rubén Villa. A él no le gusta, yo estuve viendo algunas de las peleas de él, no le gusta la pelea en corto y precisamente tiene más brazo que tú, tiene 5 centímetros más de brazo. En ese caso, ¿cómo imaginas tu plan de pelea siendo tú un hombre que te gusta ir allí a la corta, a fajarte, a intercambiar ante un hombre que va a tratar de evitarte permanentemente?
Pues primeramente me gustaría decirle que no soy un peleador que me adapto a la pelea, un peleador que si me conviene estar en la corta, me quedo en la corta, si me conviene el contraataque, pues utilizo el contraataque, si me conviene boxear, moverme en el ring, lo hago. En esta ocasión, pues el son de música que me ponga Sulaimán es el que voy a bailar, entonces depende de la pelea que él me brinde y la pelea que yo le voy a brindar para contrarrestar eso y salir avante de esa pelea. Yo voy bien, lo que puedo decir es que voy bien preparado, voy bien mentalizado y voy a ganar esa pelea, porque yo sé muy bien que las que vienen después de esta pelea van a ser muy buenas y va a quedar mi nombre escrito ahí en la historia, yo sé muy bien.
¿Qué tan motivante es para ti, Brian, de venir de una derrota y enfrentar a un peleador como Suleiman Segawa, que es un peleador fuerte, con mucha experiencia, que ha vencido y ha peleado con muy buenos peleadores, que tiene mucha experiencia sobre el cuadrilátero? ¿Qué tan motivado estás tú después de que vienes de una derrota frente a Ramón Cárdenas?
Sinceramente estoy muy motivado en cuestión personal, en cuestión deportiva. Por la cuestión como fue la pelea, tú sabes, Juan Manuel, no fue una pelea que yo haya sentido que perdí por malo, perdí por no, y no, o sea, por los puntos que haya sido, es una pelea que me motivó más, me motivó a seguir trabajando, a saber que yo estoy en estos niveles y estoy para grandes cosas. Estoy joven, pues prácticamente casi Suleiman, si no miento, tiene 34, yo tengo 27 recién cumplidos hace 2 días. Entonces estoy bien, vengo bien motivado de esta última pelea con Ramón Cárdenas. Ramón Cárdenas ya tiene su recorrido y yo sé muy bien que estoy para grandes cosas. Yo confío en mi nivel, confío en mi talento, confío en mi trabajo, más que nada en mi trabajo. Nada, estoy listo para este 5 de septiembre.
And boss, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about a future star in Ben Johnson. Whatever it is, Ben Johnson's got it. Big, articulate, good-looking guy, exciting style, 4-0, but you see those fledgling characteristics that make a boxer great.
You know, he absolutely. I think he has everything. I've been anxious to test it. And for some reason, we just had bad luck. Every opponent we've matched him with so far has fallen out. And it's been tough to get a really good opponent so we could see what he has beyond the first 45 seconds of the fight. So and even this time he fell out again. We had him against an undefeated guy.
Not easy to find
Yeah.
opponents. good fighters like this, because you got to pay the opponents a little more money than you usually got to pay your other opponents.
You got to sweeten the pot to
That's
get in
the
there.
problem with bringing up such a good prospect.
Yeah, there's excuses. Maybe there's a reason why they're falling out, and it's not the variety of excuses that I'm getting. But we had a backup this time. So this kid Caraballo, who's 7-6, but he's been in with a whole bunch of prospects, and no one could stop him. So at least the intrigue factor on this one was, okay, I'm giving you a guy that doesn't goes all rounds. Yeah. He doesn't get knocked out. So the challenge for this one is, will Ben?
He's never been stopped.
Never been stopped. And Gabe,
that's a very Johnny Boz of you.
Yes, I just thought I was trying to give you guys something, something to work with, right?
Very Johnny Boz of you. I like it.
So that's what we got for Ben, and it'll be fun to watch him. But I hope to be able to get guys that can really fight with him sooner than later. And then what was
Elijah Flores 9-0. The next name I had to go over. We talk about up and comers. That's another one.
Yeah, we recently signed Elijah, and he's a terrific fighter. He's got a big following, strong amateur pedigree. So we recently brought him on board. This will be his first fight with us. So I'm excited to see him. He's going against a 25-7 veteran. It'll be a good measuring stick fight for him to see what he has, but I'm excited to watch him.
How excited, a 32-fight veteran. You're 9-0. Your opponent has 32 pro fights. But as you said, they're excited about that. They're excited about the going rounds with a veteran guy.
Elijah, if you look at his box rec, he's been fighting very, very tough competition from day one of his career. So he's just another one of those ProBox fighters that just likes the challenge, right? Yeah.
No soft touches and a likable kid. I think this kid is very marketable. I mean, I've been around him at the ProBox states, the campus.
Yeah.
He's
not the guy who hurt your hand.
No.
We can't blame him for that.
You can't hit him. He's too good. No, but he's for me, he's lights out. A great personality, very marketable looking kid, can fight. It's
Chris.
Yes.
What do you got?
I was in the gym with that kid recently as well. I was not sparring. I don't spar, guys. I'm not sparring anymore. But I was in the gym and I got to see him working with some of the other guys. And I agree with all you guys. He really does have it all, top to bottom. Boxing skills. He's got the looks. He looks like he's physically strong. And he's been in tough. And those are the kind of guys that we love on ProBox TV, because when the time comes, we know we're not going to be disappointed. They've seen those dark places in the ring already, and they're in the ProBox TV facility, which is full of killers. So he's going to be ready for anything that's in front of him. So really looking forward to watching him fight live, because I haven't seen him live just yet.
Oh, you haven't felt his power, haven't seen him live yet, but what all of the fighters are fighting for is that next level recognition, that next level opportunity, which is why I got to check in with the boss, with the ProBox TV team. What is in the future? What is coming up for the guys that are on your roster?
We talked about it recently, but there's been a lot of developments since then, especially with the off-platform guys. So, I think, unfortunately for the fans at home that enjoy watching ProBox, I think they're saying goodbye to Lester Martinez. Lester Martinez will not be back on our platform.
Good. He's graduated.
He's graduating. He's with ProBox,
he got his degree.
He's with ProBox, but he's going to be he's moving on to more expensive things. Let's
like George Jefferson. He's moving on up.
Yes. So we're super excited about that fight. I mean, that's getting close, and he's healthy. He's been healthy. So we're going to see what happens with him and Billy. I'm just curious, Paulie, as I get closer and I get a little more nervous or anxious about it, I want to hear from you and Chris. What's your breakdown on how that fight plays out?
Very simple. He's going to knock Billy out. I think he knocks Billy out. Billy's been down against Gongora. He goes down. He comes forward. I think Lester's a little bit more dimensions than him, has the firepower to hurt him. And Billy has shown he gets hurt. And Billy is one-dimensional. That dimension is very good. It's an all-pressure dimension. But once you are getting hurt by a stronger, better fighter, what are you going to fight on the back foot, make adjustments? And Billy doesn't have that kind of versatility. And he's going to
bold prediction. I'm gonna make another prediction. It steals the show. Yeah. It's going to be the best fight on the card.
No, the undercard. No hate, but I mean, people are going to take it as hate anyway because they think anything I say about Canelo's hate. But the undercard's way better than the main event, dude. I mean, Walsh versus Vargas, and Martinez. Martinez against
Can I ask
Bailey.
you something? How is Walsh versus Vargas. Conversation for another day, but this is not the Vargas at Top Rank. This is the Vargas at
but
Large
Fernando Jr.
Nation.
fights.
What?
Fernando Jr.
No, this
fights.
is Fernando Vargas Jr., not
Fernando-
Emiliano.
Not
Right.
Emiliano. It's
Fernando
right.
Jr. fights. He fights.
Oh, he fights.
Yeah. He ain't going away quietly
No,
if you think.
and he can punch.
But how does
He can
that
punch.
become a co-main? That's a
Because-
ProBox TV fight.
But it's the
Name
the
value?
name. Yeah. You know, see,
Name value or
it's-
hold
it's
on.
speaking
hold
my
on,
thoughts,
hold on,
Jim.
hold on, hold on.
That's what I was
Let's-
saying.
let's-
Callum Walsh's attachment to
Yeah,
TKO.
yeah.
and-
No, Callum Walsh is a TKO fighter.
and he's been
And
heavily
they want
promoted
to
since
put
he
they
turned
want
pro.
right, and they want to put him on just before Canelo. They figure the
Yeah.
biggest audience possible.
Yeah, yeah.
No, they
it's
even
politics.
turned around and they made Lester and Billy a 10-round fight.
See, that I didn't know. I would have assumed Lester and Billy would have been right before the main event.
Well,
See,
because
that's
because
politics.
Yeah, it was
right.
originally. Yeah.
No, but in order to promote Callum Smith, they made them the
Callum
co-main.
Walsh.
Callum Walsh, Paul. My bad. Excuse me. But
Callums.
in order to do that, they had to make them a 10 because it would have gone 12, 10, 12. So they turned them down into a 10.
Yeah,
And it's a long conversation.
I wouldn't have done that. That's
No, but I just think you're putting on one of the best fights, intriguing fights
Yeah.
with Canelo and Crawford, and your
Kind of a shame.
co-main
that Lester
drops
and
down to
Billy
that.
goes to a 10 for this because Lester and Billy could really get hot and heavy in 11 and 12. If there hasn't been a knockout,
Don't-
it's going to get dragged in the mud in 11 and 12. You're actually
The explanation is Netflix didn't want a 12-round fight other than the main event, which is 6 minutes difference. I mean, how does that?
especially between those two caliber of guys, you're really losing out a lot. Because, like I said, it's a better
That
fight.
could
It's
separate.
a better fight than the main event too. I mean,
It is.
boxing wise. All right,
It doesn't. It's a very.
I've already
confusing-
burned enough bridges.
Right.
Let's
It's a
not
very.
kill the Netflix
It's
bridge
a
there,
very
right?
confusing setup.
because they don't have the intelligence to figure that out themselves.
Yeah, so much talent on display September 5th. DC fans, do not miss it. So much talent from the DMV area. It will be the center of the boxing universe. That's why ProBox TV is there. Find out ringside. Check it out. It's going to be great. September 5th.